Lucky American coins. The 2015 United States 1-cent coin, commonly called the 2015 Lincoln Penny, is a modern American coin that can attract much more attention than its 1-cent face value when it contains a genuine minting error, an unusual die variety, an exceptional grade, or another characteristic that makes it scarce to collectors. It is important, however, to separate an exciting claim about a coin being worth millions of dollars from documented market evidence. A normal 2015 Lincoln cent is not a $178 million coin, and there is no reliable auction record or established price guide evidence showing a 2015 Lincoln cent selling for $178 million. The enormous $178 million figure should therefore be treated as an internet-style claim or hypothetical headline rather than a verified current market value. For a real collector, the value depends on the exact mint mark, era, condition, certification, rarity, and documented sales history. The 2015 Lincoln cent belongs to the modern Shield Reverse series of Lincoln cents. The coin has a face value of 1 cent, meaning that the United States government officially denominates it at 1 cent. It is a small round coin with a plain edge, a diameter of approximately 19 millimeters, and a standard weight of approximately 2.50 grams. It is made from copper-plated zinc rather than solid copper. NGC lists the standard 2015 Philadelphia cent as weighing 2.5 grams, measuring 19 millimeters in diameter, and having a copper-plated zinc composition. PCGS likewise lists the 2015 Philadelphia Lincoln cent at 2.50 grams, 19.00 millimeters, with a plain edge and copper-plated zinc composition. The 2015 Lincoln cent is part of one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. The portrait on the obverse is Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Lincoln's portrait has appeared on the cent since 1909, making the Lincoln cent one of the most recognizable United States coins. The 2015 coin continues that tradition while using the Union Shield reverse that became part of the Lincoln cent series in 2010. On the obverse, the large portrait of Abraham Lincoln faces to the right. Above his portrait is the inscription, "In God We Trust." The word liberty appears to the left of Lincoln's portrait, while the date 2015 appears on the right side. The overall arrangement is familiar to anyone who has handled American pennies, but the 2015 version belongs to the modern shield design era rather than the earlier Lincoln Memorial reverse era. The reverse is particularly important because it distinguishes the modern 2015 Lincoln cent from many earlier pennies. Instead of the Lincoln Memorial, the reverse features a Union shield. The shield is associated with the preservation of the United States as one unified nation. Across the shield is a ribbon carrying the denomination 1 cent. Around the design are United States of America and E pluribus unum. The reverse design was created by Lincoln Pennies, with Joseph Menna responsible for the sculptural preparation used for production. The obverse design traces back to Victor David Brenner. PCGS identifies the 2015 Shield cent as a Lincoln cent designed by Victor David Brenner and Lincoln Pennies. The symbolism of the 2015 penny is therefore much deeper than its 1 cent denomination might suggest. Abraham Lincoln represents an important period of American history, while the Union shield on the reverse emphasizes national unity. The phrase E pluribus unum means out of many, one, and it has appeared on United States coinage for generations. In God We Trust and Liberty are also traditional American inscriptions, making the coin a small piece of national history that combines a presidential portrait, national ideals, denomination, and historical symbolism. The 2015 cent was produced in enormous quantities. That fact is extremely important when evaluating a claim that an ordinary 2015 penny is worth an extraordinary amount of money. The Philadelphia Mint produced more than 4.6 billion regular 2015 cents. NGC gives the Philadelphia mintage as 4,691,300,000 pieces. PCGS gives the same mintage figure, and notes that Philadelphia struck more than 4.6 billion examples. Because such a huge number were produced, the ordinary circulated 2015 Philadelphia cent is generally common. The 2015 D cent was also produced in very large quantities. NGC lists a mintage of 4,674,000,000 for the 2015 D Lincoln cent. It has the same basic copper-plated zinc composition, approximately 2.5 gram weight, 19 mm diameter, and plain edge, as the Philadelphia version. The D mint mark indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. There was also a 2015 South Lincoln Center, including proof examples made at the San Francisco Mint. PCGS lists the 2015 South Proof Lincoln Center as a copper-plated zinc coin weighing 2.50 grams and measuring 19.00 millimeters. The listed proof mintage is 1,099,412. Proof coins were produced primarily for collectors, and were struck with special preparation and finishing techniques rather than being ordinary circulation pieces. When looking at a 2015 Lincoln cent, one of the first things a collector should do is identify the mint mark. A 2015 coin without a mint mark generally indicates Philadelphia production, although the absence of a mint mark should not automatically be called an error. This is one of the most common mistakes made by beginning coin collectors. A no mint mark 2015 cent is normally a Philadelphia cent, not automatically a rare minting mistake. A D mint mark indicates Denver. An S mint mark generally identifies San Francisco production, especially in the context of proof coinage. The mint mark itself is not an error simply because it appears small, slightly different, or unusual to the naked eye. Collectors should compare the coin against authenticated examples before concluding that something unusual has happened. The word error is extremely important in modern coin collecting. A genuine mint error occurs during the manufacturing process and is different from ordinary damage that happens after a coin leaves the mint. A coin dropped on a hard surface may develop a dent, scratch, flattened rim, gouge, discoloration, or other damage. Those conditions are usually not valuable mint errors. A genuine error normally has evidence that the abnormal feature occurred during the production process. One of the most interesting possibilities for a 2015 Lincoln cent is a die-related error. Dies are the hardened metal tools used to strike coins. When a die becomes damaged, worn, cracked, or chipped, it can transfer unusual characteristics to coins struck by that die. A die chip, for example, can appear as a raised area on the coin because metal fills a missing portion of the die. The appearance, position, shape, and repetition of the feature can help determine whether it is a genuine die variety or merely post-mint damage. A die crack is another possibility. As a die experiences repeated stress, cracks can develop. These cracks may transfer to coins as raised lines. A collector should remember that the crack is raised on the coin because the corresponding feature is recessed in the die. This distinction can help separate a genuine die problem from scratches or cuts made after the coin was struck. A die clash is another type of minting anomaly. It occurs when opposing dies come into contact without a planchette properly separating them. This can leave traces of one design on the opposing die, which can subsequently transfer unusual design elements onto coins. A confirmed clash can attract collectors, especially when it produces a dramatic and recognizable secondary design. Machine doubling is often confused with a doubled die. This is one of the most important distinctions for someone searching through 2015 pennies. A true double die is created during the die making process and can show a double design on coins struck by that die. Machine doubling, on the other hand, can occur during the striking process and often produces a flatter, shelf-like appearance. It can look dramatic under magnification, but may have little premium value compared with a genuine major double die variety. A collector should never assume that every apparent doubling is worth thousands or millions of dollars. The exact location and shape of the doubling matter. Collectors and professional graders use established diagnostics to determine whether a coin represents a recognized variety or simply mechanical distortion. Off-center strikes are another category that can be collectible. An off-center error occurs when a planchette is not properly centered between the dies when it is struck. The result can be a coin with part of the design missing from one side and an enlarged blank area on the opposite side. The amount of off-center striking matters. A minor displacement may have a relatively small premium, while a dramatic off-center strike that retains the date and mint mark can be considerably more interesting. The date is particularly important for an off-center coin. If the date and mint mark remain visible, collectors can more easily identify the coin. A major off-center error that removes the date may still be collectible, but identification can become more difficult. The combination of dramatic displacement, identifiable date, strong condition, and professional authentication can increase desirability. Broad strikes are another possible minting error. A broad strike can occur when a coin is struck outside the normal retaining collar. The coin may expand beyond its normal diameter, while still showing a design that identifies it as a legitimate struck coin. A broad strike should not simply be confused with a damaged coin that was flattened later. Professional examination can help establish whether the unusual shape occurred during minting. A clipped planchette is another possible error. A portion of the metal blank may be missing because of a problem during the blanking process. Genuine clips can have distinctive characteristics, including the way the design and rim respond around the missing portion. A curved clip, straight clip, or other type of clip can have different levels of collector interest. A lamination error is another possibility discussed by collectors. Lamination involves separation or peeling of the metal surface caused by problems in the planchette material. A 2015 Lincoln cent with a reported lamination error has been cited in online collecting references as selling for $615 in a 2020 eBay transaction. However, an individual online sale should not automatically be treated as a universal market price, and authentication is particularly important for unusual modern errors. A die chip can be much smaller and less dramatic than an off-center strike. Some die chips may create small raised blobs near letters, numbers, Lincoln's portrait, or portions of the reverse shield. Such features can be collectible if they are clearly mint-made and recognized by the collecting community, but tiny die chips generally do not justify extravagant valuations. The condition of a 2015 penny is another major factor. Coins are often graded on a numerical scale, with circulated coins ranging through grades such as good, very fine, extremely fine, and about uncirculated, while uncirculated coins are graded in the mint state range. Modern coins can be found in high grades because many were preserved shortly after production, but the highest grades can still be difficult to achieve because even tiny marks can prevent a coin from receiving a top grade. For the ordinary 2015 Philadelphia cent, PCGS records an auction result of $700 for an MS-68 road example sold on February 26, 2023. That figure is enormously higher than the 1 cent face value, but it is still nowhere near $178 million. It demonstrates an important principle of numismatics. A common modern coin can sometimes bring a substantial premium when it is in an unusually high grade, but the documented price is determined by actual market transactions rather than sensational claims. NGC's information for the 2015 Philadelphia cent also shows how grade affects the value of certified examples. Its price guide data lists relatively modest values for many lower and mid-level mint state grades, with higher grades becoming more valuable. The NGC census shows relatively few examples certified at the highest levels compared with the billions originally struck. This is why condition can matter even for a coin that is common in circulation. The 2015 D cent also demonstrates this relationship. NGC lists ordinary guide values from only a few cents for circulated examples into several dollars for high-grade examples, depending on color designation and grade. Again, this is very different from a claim that a regular 2015 D penny is worth hundreds of millions. Color designation is another feature that advanced Lincoln cent collectors consider. Modern copper-plated zinc cents may be categorized as brown, red-brown, or red depending on the amount of original red coloration retained. Red examples with strong original appearance can be more desirable in high grades. The designation is not itself a guarantee of enormous value, but it can influence the price of a certified coin. A 2015 cent can therefore have several different levels of value. An ordinary circulated coin may be worth around face value. A nice uncirculated coin may bring a modest premium. A very high-grade certified example may bring substantially more. A genuine mint error can be worth more depending on the type and severity of the error. A major, rare, authenticated error can potentially bring hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Extremely unusual error coins can sometimes sell for much more, but those situations require strong evidence. The idea of a $178 million value should be handled very carefully. There is no established evidence in the major market references consulted here that a 2015 Lincoln cent with a typical error has a current market value of $178 million. The documented PCGS auction record for a regular 2015 Philadelphia Shield cent is $700 for an MS-68 road example, while NGC's published information likewise places ordinary high-grade examples far below anything resembling $178 million. Therefore, if a video, social media post, website, or headline says 2015 penny worth $178 million, viewers should understand that this is not the same thing as a verified sale. This distinction is especially important for YouTube content because sensational coin value claims can attract attention, but can also mislead viewers if presented as established fact. A responsible description can say that collectors should check their 2015 pennies for genuine errors and rare varieties, while explaining that a $178 million valuation is not supported by documented auction evidence. That makes the content both exciting and more trustworthy. The face value of the 2015 cent is exactly 1 cent, or 1 cent. The United States Mint produced it as part of normal American coinage. Its composition is copper-plated zinc, which means that the coin is not made of solid copper. The zinc core makes up most of the coin's mass, while a thin copper coating gives the cent its familiar copper appearance. The standard weight is approximately 2.5 grams. Because the 2015 cent is copper-plated zinc, unusual weight can be an important clue when searching for errors. If a coin is substantially heavier or lighter than the normal 2.50 grams, the difference might justify further examination. However, weight alone does not prove an error. Dirt, damage, plating problems, corrosion, or a faulty scale can affect measurements. A collector should use a precise digital scale and compare the result with the expected specification. For example, a genuine wrong planchet error could have an unusual weight because the coin was struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or composition. Such errors can be highly collectible. But the existence of an unusual weight must be investigated carefully. A coin that weighs slightly different because of normal manufacturing tolerance, wear, corrosion, or contamination is not automatically a spectacular error. The diameter should also be checked. A standard 2015 cent measures approximately 19 millimeters. If a supposed error coin is significantly different in diameter, that can be another clue. But again, measurement should be combined with visual examination and other diagnostics. The edge is plain. This means there are no reeded lines like those seen on many United States dimes and quarters. Looking at the edge can nevertheless reveal useful information. A collector can examine whether the copper plating appears normal, whether there are unusual seams, whether the edge has been damaged, and whether the shape is consistent with a legitimate mint-made error. One of the most important things a collector can do is avoid cleaning the coin. Cleaning a potentially valuable coin can reduce its desirability and may make professional grading more difficult. Abrasive polishing, chemical dipping, scraping, rubbing, or aggressive brushing can leave permanent evidence. If a 2015 penny appears unusual, it is better to preserve it exactly as found. Magnification can be useful. A basic loupe or microscope can reveal doubling, die chips, cracks, plating problems, and other details that are difficult to see with the naked eye. But magnification can also make normal design irregularities look extraordinary. Every feature should be compared with known examples rather than interpreted in isolation. The date 2015 is located on the obverse to the right of Lincoln's portrait. If the coin has a mint mark, that mark can help identify where it was produced. A collector should photograph both sides of the coin in good lighting, photograph the edge, record the weight and diameter, and avoid altering the coin. Professional certification becomes particularly important when a suspected error could have significant value. Organizations such as PCGS and NGC authenticate, grade, and encapsulate coins. Certification does not guarantee a specific sale price, but it provides independent documentation of the coin's identity and condition. This can make a major difference when selling an unusual error. The market for modern Lincoln cents is highly dependent on rarity. A coin being old is not the only way it becomes valuable. In fact, a 2015 cent is relatively young compared with classic United States coins. What can make a modern cent interesting is a combination of rarity, condition, error type, demand, and verifiable provenance. The enormous production numbers are one reason ordinary examples are inexpensive. With billions of Philadelphia and Denver pieces produced, there is no reason for a normal 2015 penny in circulated condition to command hundreds or millions of dollars. PCGS specifically notes that Philadelphia struck over 4.6 billion 2015 examples, and that coins up through MS-67 can be located without difficulty, with MS-68 and higher becoming more difficult. The same principle applies to the 2015 Didnt NGC reports 4.674 billion Denver examples. That huge mintage means that the ordinary 2015 Didnt is generally common. Its value becomes more interesting when an example is unusually well preserved, has a recognized variety, or contains a genuine mint error. Proof coins are different. The 2015 South Proof Center was produced specifically for collectors and is found with proof characteristics. PCGS lists the 2015 S proof mintage at 1,099,412. Proof coins can be valuable in perfect grades, but the presence of an S mint mark alone does not mean a coin is worth thousands or millions. The 2015 Lincoln cent is also historically interesting because it belongs to the modern continuation of a design that began with the 1909 Lincoln cent. The original Lincoln cent was introduced to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Over more than a century, the reverse changed several times. The wheat reverse was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959, and the Lincoln bicentennial reverses appeared in 2009. The shield reverse began in 2010 and continued through the 2015 issue. The Union Shield design gives the 2015 cent a distinctive appearance. On the reverse, the shield is divided into sections and surrounded by inscriptions. The design symbolizes the preservation of the Union and continues the tradition of putting national themes onto American coinage. The denomination 1 cent is placed prominently on the ribbon across the shield. Abraham Lincoln's portrait has a different kind of symbolism. Lincoln is strongly associated with the preservation of the Union and the abolition of slavery during the American Civil War. His appearance on the cent connects a very small denomination coin with one of the most significant periods in American history. The inscriptions also matter. In God We Trust is located above the portrait. Liberty appears beside Lincoln. The date identifies the year. On the reverse, United States of America identifies the issuing nation, E pluribus unum communicates the traditional national motto, and 1 cent identifies the denomination. Collectors sometimes use the phrase rare penny very loosely. A penny can be uncommon without being extremely valuable. Conversely, an error can be dramatic without being particularly rare. The market decides value based on supply and demand. A minor error found on thousands of coins may have a limited premium. A major error, with only a handful of known examples, can be far more desirable. The strongest candidates for substantial premiums generally have a clear minting abnormality, strong visual appeal, good condition, and independent authentication. A coin that simply looks strange is not enough. Collectors need to know why it looks strange and whether that characteristic occurred at the mint. A genuine doubled die is particularly interesting because the doubling is part of the die itself. If the same doubled feature appears on multiple coins from the same die, that can strengthen the case that it is a genuine die variety. The location of doubling on letters, digits, or design elements can be important. A doubled date can be exciting to collectors, but it must be distinguished from mechanical doubling. The shape of the secondary image, its direction, and the relationship between the primary and secondary impressions are important. A flat shelf-like appearance is often characteristic of machine doubling rather than a classic doubled die. A die chip can appear as an extra raised area. Because the feature is created by damage or breakage of the die, it can repeat on other coins struck by the same die. Collectors sometimes give nicknames to especially recognizable die chips, but a nickname does not automatically create a high monetary value. A die crack can travel through the design. A crack may begin near the rim and move toward letters or other design elements. Large, dramatic die breaks can be especially desirable. Small die cracks may be worth only a modest premium. A retained cud is another dramatic type of die failure. A cud occurs when a portion of the die breaks away near the edge, leaving a large raised area on the coin where the design has been lost. A major retained cud can be visually impressive and may command a substantial premium if authenticated. An off-center strike can range from slight to dramatic. A coin that is only a few % off-center may not be especially valuable. A coin that is dramatically off-center while retaining the full date and mint mark can be far more desirable. The exact percentage of displacement and the overall appearance matter. A wrong planchette error can be particularly interesting because the coin was struck on metal intended for another denomination. Such errors can produce unusual diameter, thickness, color, weight, or design relationships. A suspected wrong planchette error should never be sold based solely on a home measurement. Professional authentication is strongly recommended. A struck-through error occurs when a foreign substance comes between the die and planchette during striking. This can create missing or distorted portions of the design. Depending on the substance, location, size, and visual effect, the result may be collectible. A clipped planchette results from the blanking process. The missing portion can have a distinctive shape. Collectors can look for characteristics such as the way the rim behaves around the clipped area, and whether the design follows the curvature expected from a genuine planchette clip. A broad strike is another type of error involving the collar. The coin may spread outward because it was struck without proper containment. This can result in an unusual diameter and distorted rim. A genuine broad strike is different from a coin that was deliberately flattened outside the mint. Post-mint damage is one of the biggest reasons collectors should be cautious. Coins pass through machines, bags, rolls, pockets, cash registers, coin counters, and countless hands. A 2015 penny may have scratches, dents, gouges, stains, corrosion, plating damage, or other abnormalities simply because it has been in circulation. A damaged coin can sometimes look more dramatic than a real error. A scratch across the date can appear like doubling. A hit on the rim can make the coin look off-center. A chemical reaction can change the color. A coin that has been heated can develop unusual surfaces. None of those conditions necessarily creates numismatic value. The safest method is comparison. Find authenticated examples of the alleged error and compare the exact feature. If the feature is supposed to be a double die, compare the affected letters and numbers. If it is supposed to be an off-center strike, compare the shape and percentage of displacement. If it is supposed to be a clipped planchette, compare the edge characteristics. The value of a coin should also be based on the exact coin rather than the year alone. A 2015 penny can be worth 1 cent, a few cents, several dollars, dozens of dollars, hundreds of dollars, or potentially more depending on what makes that specific specimen unusual. It is incorrect to assign one universal value to every 2015 penny. The documented $700 auction result for a 2015 Philadelphia MS 68 road cent is useful because it provides a real market reference. It shows that even a common modern coin can bring a substantial premium in an exceptionally high certified grade. But it also demonstrates how far the actual documented market is from the sensational $178 million claim. The 2015 D cent has similarly modest published values for ordinary grades. NGC's current information lists the coin at values ranging from only a few cents in many grades to several dollars at higher grades, with the highest published grades commanding larger premiums. The difference between a normal example and a rare error is therefore enormous, and the error must be established before a high valuation is justified. The 2015 Philadelphia cent has a particularly interesting population at the highest grades. NGC's census information shows that the total number certified is tiny compared with the billions minted, because only a small fraction of the total population is submitted for grading. A coin's population at a particular grade can influence collector demand, especially when registry-set collectors compete for the finest known examples. Registry collecting can create competition for top-grade modern coins. Some collectors want the highest grade example possible for a particular date and mint. If only a small number of coins achieve an exceptionally high grade, prices can increase even when millions or billions of lower-grade examples exist. This is one reason a collector should not judge a coin solely by age. A 2015 coin may be younger than many coins in a collection, but if it is a top population example, or a major authenticated error, it can still be desirable. At the same time, a collector should not assume that a coin becomes rare simply because it has been stored for years. Age alone does not transform billions of surviving coins into rarities. Rarity must be demonstrated. A useful way to examine a 2015 penny is to begin with the basic specifications. Put the coin on a precision scale. A normal example should be around 2.50 grams. Measure the diameter and check that it is approximately 19 millimeters. Examine the edge. Look for the mint mark. Then inspect both sides under magnification. After that, look specifically at the date. Check the digits for unusual doubling, distortion, or damage. Examine Liberty and Iron God We Trust. Look at Lincoln's portrait for die cracks, chips, or unusual raised areas. Then turn the coin over and examine E pluribus unum, United States of America, 1 cent, the shield, and the rim. The rim is especially important when checking for off-center strikes, broad strikes, clips, and other errors. A genuine mint error often affects the rim in a way that makes sense mechanically. Random damage may produce a completely different appearance. The edge can also reveal plating problems. Because the coin is copper-plated zinc, the outer copper layer can sometimes become damaged, exposing the underlying zinc. Such exposure does not automatically mean the coin is a valuable mint error. It can result from normal damage after the coin entered circulation. A missing copper layer can be more interesting if it occurred during the manufacturing process, but it must be authenticated. A coin that has been chemically altered or physically stripped should not be confused with a genuine missing plating error. A 2015 penny with a major genuine error should be handled carefully. Do not clean it. Do not put it in a harsh chemical. Do not scratch the suspected error to test it. Do not glue it into a holder. Place it in a protective non-PVC holder or coin flip and preserve it until it can be examined. Photographs should be taken in natural or neutral lighting. Avoid excessive reflections. Take one full obverse image, one full reverse image, close-ups of the suspected error, and pictures of the edge. Include a scale reference only if it does not touch or damage the coin. If the coin is potentially valuable, professional authentication can be worth the cost. A certified coin can be easier to sell because buyers have greater confidence that the coin is genuine and that the described error or variety is legitimate. Collectors should also keep any provenance. If the coin came from an old roll, collection, mint product, estate, or other documented source, preserve that information. Provenance does not automatically add millions of dollars, but it can provide useful context. Auction records are among the best ways to estimate a market price. A seller can ask any amount for a coin, but an asking price is not the same as a completed sale. A listing saying $178 million does not prove that anyone paid $178 million. A verified auction result is much stronger evidence. This is particularly important for online coin videos. A thumbnail saying 2015 penny worth $178 million can attract clicks, but the video should clarify that the figure is not a verified market price unless actual documentation exists. Responsible numismatic content can still be exciting without presenting an unsupported number as fact. A better way to describe the potential is to say that some 2015 Lincoln cents with genuine errors can be worth significantly more than face value, and collectors should inspect their coins carefully. The exact value depends on the error and condition. A documented high-grade 2015 Philadelphia cent has reached $700 at auction, according to PCGS. A reported 2015 delamination error has been cited at $615 in an online sale. These are much more useful reference points than a $178 million claim. There is also an important difference between retail price guides and auction records. A price guide may estimate what a dealer or collector could pay under certain circumstances, while an auction record documents an actual transaction. Both can be useful, but neither should be interpreted as a guarantee of what every coin will sell for. The condition of the coin can also change rapidly in value as grade increases. A circulated coin may be common, while a pristine coin with exceptional color and no significant marks may be much harder to locate. This is especially true for modern cents because small marks can occur during manufacturing, transportation, packaging, and handling. The term MS means mint state and refers to uncirculated coins graded on the Sheldon scale. A coin graded MS-60 has the general characteristics of an uncirculated coin, but can show significant marks. At higher grades, the standards become increasingly strict. MS-67, MS-68, MS-69, and MS-70 represent increasingly difficult levels of preservation. The highest possible grade can be extremely difficult to achieve. A coin that appears perfect to the naked eye may have microscopic imperfections visible under professional examination. This is why professional grading can produce surprising differences in value between apparently similar coins. Red coloration is also important for Lincoln cents. A freshly struck copper-plated zinc cent can have a bright red appearance. Over time, environmental exposure can alter the surface. Certified red examples can be more desirable, particularly in very high grades. However, color should never be artificially enhanced. Artificially recolored coins may be rejected or designated improperly by grading services. A collector should value originality rather than attempting to make the coin look newer than it is. The 2015 cents plain edge is another feature that helps identify the denomination. Unlike reeded coins, the edge is smooth. When checking an error, the edge should be inspected from multiple angles because certain minting abnormalities are more visible there. The coin's weight is approximately 2.5 grams. A significant departure from that standard can be interesting, but collectors should remember that precision scales have tolerances, and that coins can gain or lose tiny amounts due to dirt and wear. A suspected 2015 error should therefore be treated as a hypothesis until proven. This approach protects the collector from both disappointment and misinformation. A useful mental rule is simple: unusual does not automatically mean rare, and rare does not automatically mean extremely valuable. Value is the result of rarity plus collector demand plus condition plus authentication plus market evidence. The 2015 Lincoln cent is a particularly good example of this principle because billions were made. An ordinary example is common, yet certain high-grade and error examples can be substantially more interesting. The historical story of the Lincoln cent also gives the coin collecting community a reason to preserve these modern pieces. The coin represents more than a denomination. It is part of a series that has documented more than a century of American history through changes in portrait, reverse design, metal composition, and production technology. The original Lincoln cent of 1909 was groundbreaking because it placed the portrait of an actual historical American president on a circulating U.S. coin. The design continued through the wheat reverse era, the Lincoln Memorial era, the bicentennial reverses, and finally the shield reverse. By 2015, the Lincoln cent had already survived numerous changes in American coinage. The 2015 version is therefore a modern continuation of a very old American tradition. The Union Shield reverse was introduced in 2010 after the four 2009 Lincoln bicentennial reverse designs. It was created as a permanent reverse design rather than a temporary commemorative series. The shield represents the unity and preservation of the United States, making the reverse particularly appropriate for a coin bearing Lincoln's portrait. The combination of Lincoln and the Union Shield is therefore symbolically connected. Lincoln is associated with preserving the Union, and the shield represents that same concept of national unity. For collectors, the 2015 date is easy to identify. The large 2015 date is located beside Lincoln's portrait. The mint mark, when present, appears below the date area. A no mint mark example from Philadelphia should not be automatically considered rare. The Denver mint mark is a capital D. It is small and can sometimes be difficult to see because of wear, lighting, or surface marks. The absence of a mint mark on a 2015 circulation cent is normally explained by Philadelphia production rather than by an error. The San Francisco version is more commonly encountered as a proof coin. Proof cents have a distinctive polished appearance, and the fields and design details can show strong contrast depending on the finish. PCGS records numerous varieties and designations for the 2015 South Proof Center, including PR70DCAM examples. Collectors should therefore identify the strike type before comparing prices. A regular business strike 2015 Philadelphia penny should not be compared directly with a proof 2015 S cent. The market can also distinguish between brown, and red examples. PCGS lists separate major varieties and color designations for the 2015 Philadelphia cent, including BN, RB, and Rhode. A normal 2015 penny in circulation can have little premium over 1 cent. This is not a failure of the coin. It simply reflects the enormous number produced and the fact that most examples remain available. A coin collector who finds a 2015 penny should therefore not be discouraged if it is ordinary. The excitement comes from searching through large populations and occasionally finding something genuinely unusual. Coin roll hunting is one way collectors encounter modern errors. Collectors obtain rolls of cents and inspect them individually under good lighting. Most coins will be ordinary, but occasionally a die chip, doubled feature, off-center strike, clipped planchette, or other unusual piece may appear. When roll hunting, organization helps. Keep coins separated by date and mint mark. Photograph promising examples. Record where they came from. Avoid repeatedly handling the surfaces because fingerprints and oils can affect the appearance. If a suspected error appears, compare it with reputable references. Search for the exact date, mint, error type, and location of the feature. Do not rely on a random social media photograph without checking the source. The best evidence is usually a combination of professional references, authenticated examples, and documented sales. PCGS and NGC provide useful data for standard coins, while established auction records can show what collectors have actually paid. The difference between a price and a value is also worth understanding. A price is an amount offered or paid in a transaction. A value estimate is an opinion about what an item might be worth. A coin could be listed online for $178 million, but still have no demonstrated market value anywhere close to that amount. For a 2015 cent, the current documented market is much more modest for normal pieces. PCGS's $700 auction record for an MS-68 Road Philadelphia cent is a concrete reference. NGC's published values for the 2015 D cent similarly show modest amounts for ordinary grades. The existence of an error can change that calculation dramatically, but only if the error is genuine and desirable. A dramatic major error can command a premium because collectors compete for unusual mint-made mistakes. Yet even then, the value must be established by comparable transactions. A 2015 penny advertised at $178 million would therefore need extraordinary evidence before anyone should accept the claim. There would need to be a documented sale, credible authentication, clear provenance, and an established market basis. Without those things, the number should not be presented as the actual market value. This is especially important because sensational coin stories often use phrases such as hidden treasure, rare penny, worth millions, and check your change. Such headlines are effective for attracting attention, but collectors should look beyond the headline. The real treasure hunting lesson is that ordinary coins can contain genuine varieties and errors. The goal is not to assume every unusual coin is worth a fortune, but to learn how to identify legitimate anomalies. A 2015 cent with a major off-center strike, for example, could be worth substantially more than face value. A 2015 cent with a dramatic die break could attract collectors. A confirmed wrong planchette error could be especially interesting. A high-grade MS-68 road regular strike can also bring a substantial premium, as the documented $700 auction result demonstrates. The exact price for an error cannot be determined from the year alone. The error needs to be identified. The coin needs to be examined. The condition needs to be assessed. Ideally, the coin should be authenticated and graded. If someone finds a suspected 2015 error penny, the first step should be preservation. Do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not scratch it. Put it somewhere safe. The second step is documentation. Weigh it. Measure it. Photograph it. Record the mint mark. Note exactly what appears unusual. The third step is comparison. Compare the feature with known examples of genuine errors. The fourth step is professional evaluation if the coin appears potentially valuable. The cost of authentication can be worthwhile if the possible value is substantial. The fifth step is market research. Look for completed sales of similar coins, not just active listings. A seller should also be wary of scams. If someone claims that a 2015 penny is worth $178 million, but cannot provide a credible auction record or professional certification, that claim should be treated with skepticism. A genuine rare error does not need an exaggerated value to be interesting. The history behind how a coin was accidentally produced can itself be fascinating. Modern minting is a highly automated process involving planches, dies, presses, collars, inspection systems, packaging, and transportation. Errors can occur at different stages. Understanding the manufacturing process helps collectors understand why certain errors happen. A planchette is the blank piece of metal before it is struck with the coin's designs. The blank is fed into a press where dies impress the obverse and reverse designs. The collar helps control the shape and diameter during striking. Problems involving the planchette, dies, alignment, or collar can produce different categories of errors. A wrong planchette error occurs before or during striking when the wrong blank enters the press. An off-center error involves positioning. A broad strike involves the collar. A double die originates from the die-making process. A die crack or chip involves damage to the die. A struck-through error involves foreign material between the die and planchette. This manufacturing knowledge can help prevent misidentification. The 2015 cents copper-plated zinc composition also creates opportunities for misunderstanding. If the copper layer is damaged and zinc becomes visible, someone might call it a missing clad or silver penny, but the terminology matters. Lincoln cents of this era are not clad in the same sense as modern quarters and dimes. They have a copper plating over a zinc core. A genuine plating error can be collectible, but surface damage can look similar. Professional examination is the safest approach. The weight of 2.5 grams is a particularly useful starting point. If a coin is dramatically outside that range, a collector should investigate. But if the difference is only a tiny fraction of a gram, it may not indicate a valuable error. The diameter of approximately 19 mm can also help. A wrong planchette coin may have a noticeably different size. An off-center strike may still have approximately the same metal composition and weight, but show a major displacement of the design. The edge should remain plain for a standard 2015 cent. Any unusual edge feature should be examined closely. The 2015 Lincoln cent is therefore a useful teaching coin for new collectors because it demonstrates nearly every major principle of modern era collecting: mintage matters, condition matters, authentication matters, and actual market records matter. It also demonstrates why viral valuation claims need to be checked. The phrase "worth $178 million" sounds dramatic, but a coin's value cannot be created merely by putting a huge number in a headline. A verified market price requires an actual buyer and seller under documented circumstances. Auction houses record completed transactions. Professional grading services document certified coins. Price guides provide estimates based on market information. These sources together provide a much more reliable picture. The 2015 Philadelphia cent $700 PCGS auction record is therefore much more meaningful than a hypothetical $178 million listing. The reported $615 sale of a 2015 delamination error provides another example of how a genuine error can produce a significant premium. A collector who finds a 2015 cent should therefore ask several questions. Is it Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco? Is it a circulation strike or proof? Is the coin circulated or uncirculated? Does it have original red color? Is the suspected error actually a mint error? Is the feature recognized? Is the error dramatic enough to attract demand? Has the coin been authenticated? Are there comparable sales? These questions are far more useful than simply asking, "Is my 2015 penny worth $178 million?" For an ordinary 2015 cent, the answer is almost certainly no. For an unusual authenticated error, the answer could be significantly higher than face value, but the exact amount depends on the characteristics of that individual coin. A collector should also remember that online asking prices can be misleading. Anyone can list a coin for an enormous amount. The listing does not prove that the coin is worth that amount. A seller may be testing the market, misunderstanding the coin, or deliberately using a sensational price. Completed auction results are stronger. Even then, one sale does not establish a universal price. Two similar coins can sell for different amounts because of grade, appeal, certification, auction venue, timing, bidder competition, and other factors. The 2015 cent is also an example of how modern coin collecting has evolved. Collectors today have access to digital databases, high-resolution photographs, grading populations, online auctions, and specialist forums. This makes identification easier than it was decades ago, but it also creates more opportunities for misinformation. A photograph can exaggerate an error. Lighting can create shadows that look like doubling. Digital editing can make a coin appear more dramatic. A damaged coin can be described as a rare error. A seller can repeat a valuation from another website without evidence. The best collector is therefore not the person who believes the biggest number. The best collector is the person who verifies the smallest detail. If the coin weighs 2.50 grams, measures around 19 millimeters, has a normal edge, and has no identifiable minting error, it is probably an ordinary 2015 Lincoln cent. If the coin has a dramatic feature, the next step is identification rather than immediate valuation. If the feature is a genuine error, then the value can be investigated. If the coin is exceptionally high grade, the grade can be investigated. If the coin is a recognized die variety, the variety can be investigated. This method keeps the hobby enjoyable and protects collectors from unrealistic expectations. The 2015 Lincoln cent also has an important connection to the history of American coinage because it continues the Lincoln portrait introduced in 1909. More than a century later, the same basic portrait remained on the cent. The reverse, however, had evolved considerably, and the shield reverse gave the modern coin a new national symbolism. Victor David Brenner's Lincoln portrait became one of the most famous coin portraits in American history. Its continued use through 2015 shows how successful the design became. The Union Shield reverse by Lyndall Bass likewise became a defining feature of modern cents. It communicates national unity and gives the reverse a distinctly modern appearance. For collectors interested in symbolism, the coin can therefore be viewed as a miniature historical object. Lincoln, Liberty, the national motto, the Union Shield, the denomination, and the country name all appear on a coin small enough to fit between two fingers. That combination of history and mass production is one reason collectors continue to search cents even though the denomination is only 1 cent. The possibility of a mint error adds another layer of interest. An error represents an unusual moment in the production process. Instead of the standard coin being produced exactly as intended, something happened differently. The result becomes a record of that production anomaly. Some errors are common enough to be inexpensive. Others are extremely rare. The difference can be enormous. A dramatic error can also have educational value. A collector can use the coin to explain how coin presses work, how dies interact with planchets, how collars control diameter, and how manufacturing defects occur. The 2015 cent is particularly suitable for this because modern coins were produced under highly automated conditions. Finding a major error from such a large production system can be fascinating. Still, the phrase rare error should be used carefully. The error must actually be a minting error. Post-mint damage is not the same thing. A coin that has been crushed by machinery after leaving the mint can look bizarre. A coin damaged by a dryer can become misshapen. A coin struck by another object can develop raised or flattened areas. These conditions may be interesting, but are generally not equivalent to a genuine mint error. The easiest way to avoid confusion is to study the mechanics. Ask whether the feature could have been created by the dies, press, collar, planchette production, or other mint process. If the answer is no, post-mint damage becomes more likely. The same principle applies to color. A purple, blue, black, or rainbow-colored 2015 penny might look unusual, but unusual color does not automatically mean a mint error. Environmental exposure, heat, chemicals, or other factors can alter the surface. Original red color can be desirable in high-grade Lincoln cents, but artificial coloring should not be mistaken for natural mint state appearance. The best examples are coins with strong original surfaces, sharp details, minimal contact marks, and professional certification when the value justifies it. The market value of an ordinary 2015 cent therefore remains close to its face value in most circulated situations. High-grade examples can command premiums, and documented errors can command considerably more. But the claim of $178 million should not be described as a verified market price. If a viewer has a 2015 penny that they believe is worth $178 million, the most useful advice is to have the coin examined rather than trusting an online headline. Take clear photographs, record its weight and dimensions, and seek an opinion from a reputable numismatic professional or grading service. If the coin turns out to be a normal 2015 cent, there is still no reason to be disappointed. It remains part of the Lincoln cent series and represents an important stage in the evolution of American coin design. If it turns out to be a genuine error, the discovery becomes much more interesting. The value could be modest or substantial depending on the error. A small die chip might only bring a small premium. A dramatic off-center strike could bring considerably more. A rare wrong planchette error could be worth significantly more. A spectacular major error combined with high grade and strong demand could potentially reach a price far above the ordinary coin. But the exact value must be established by evidence. The PCGS auction record of $700 for an MS-68 Road 2015 Philadelphia cent is a documented benchmark. The reported $615 2015 delamination error transaction is another useful example, although online transaction data should be interpreted carefully. NGC's published information confirms the standard specifications and provides grade-related pricing information for 2015 Philadelphia and Denver cents. These numbers demonstrate that the market can reward exceptional examples while still keeping ordinary examples inexpensive. The most important lesson for anyone searching the 2015 Lincoln cent is simple: look for authenticity, not hype. A genuine error is valuable because collectors recognize it as an unusual mint-produced object. A high-grade coin is valuable because few examples survive in that condition. A rare variety is valuable because collectors want it and relatively few examples are known. A coin cannot become valuable simply because someone writes a large number beside it. The 2015 Lincoln cent has a face value of 1 cent, a standard weight of approximately 2.50 grams, a diameter of approximately 19 millimeters, a plain edge, and a copper-plated zinc composition. Its obverse carries Abraham Lincoln, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 2015. Its reverse carries the Union Shield, United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and 1 cent. The obverse design traces to Victor David Brenner, while the shield reverse is associated with Lyndall Bass. The Philadelphia mintage was 4,691,300,000, while the Denver mintage was 4,674,000,000. The San Francisco proof issue had a listed mintage of 1,099,412. These figures demonstrate why the normal 2015 penny is not inherently rare. The coin becomes interesting when something distinguishes the individual specimen from the enormous population. That distinguishing feature might be an error, a die variety, an extraordinary grade, a proof designation, or another recognized characteristic. The phrase 2015 penny error worth $178 million should therefore be understood as a sensational claim rather than a confirmed market fact. There is no credible evidence in the sources reviewed here showing a 2015 Lincoln cent selling for $178 million. The documented PCGS auction record for a regular 2015 Philadelphia cent is $700 at MS 68 Road, and NGC's current information similarly indicates values vastly below the claimed $178 million level for ordinary examples. That does not mean every 2015 penny is worthless. Quite the opposite. The documented market shows that exceptional modern cents can attract premiums, and genuine errors can be significantly more valuable than ordinary pieces. The collector should therefore focus on the coin's actual characteristics. Look closely at the date. Look closely at the mint mark. Look for true doubling rather than machine doubling. Look for die cracks and die chips. Check the rim. Check for off-center striking. Check the edge. Weigh the coin. Measure it. Examine the surface. Compare the coin with authenticated examples. Most importantly, do not clean the coin. If the coin appears genuinely unusual, preserve it and seek professional evaluation. A collector who follows this process has a much better chance of finding a real treasure than someone who simply searches for the biggest number on the internet. The 2015 Lincoln cent may be common in its normal form, but the world of errors and varieties can make individual examples fascinating. Its history, design, symbolism, manufacturing process, and documented market results all make it an excellent modern coin for collectors to study. The story of the 2015 penny is ultimately a story about the difference between a common coin and an exceptional coin. Billions were produced, yet small numbers can still become unusual because of minting accidents, die characteristics, or exceptional preservation. That contrast is what makes modern coin hunting exciting. For anyone checking a jar, drawer, cash register, coin roll, or old collection, a 2015 penny deserves a careful look before it is spent. Most will be ordinary. Some may have interesting die characteristics. A small number may contain genuine errors. An exceptionally preserved example may be worth considerably more than face value. But a collector should never assume a $178 million value without proof. A real market price is established through evidence. A real error is established through diagnostics. A real rarity is established through population and research. A real sale is established through a completed transaction. The 2015 Lincoln cent remains an important part of American circulating coinage, and a fascinating target for modern coin collectors. Its 2.50-gram copper-plated zinc planchet, 19mm diameter, plain edge, Lincoln obverse, and Union Shield reverse make it immediately recognizable. Its enormous production numbers make normal examples common, while its highest grade and error examples provide opportunities for collectors to find pieces that stand apart from the ordinary population. The strongest conclusion is therefore this: a normal 2015 Lincoln cent is generally worth around its 1 cent face value in circulation, while exceptional certified examples and genuine mint errors can be worth substantially more. Documented market evidence supports premiums for exceptional coins, including a $700 PCGS auction record for an MS 68 Road 2015 Philadelphia cent and reported sales for certain error examples. However, the specific claim that a 2015 Lincoln cent currently has a market value of $178 million is not supported by the documented evidence reviewed and should not be presented as an established sale price. If the purpose of the search is to discover whether a particular 2015 penny could be valuable, the most useful next step is to identify the exact error. A clear photograph of the front, back, edge, date, mint mark, and suspected error area can make that investigation much more productive. The value cannot responsibly be determined from 2015 alone. A coin's true story is in the details: the mint mark, the weight, the strike, the die, the planchette, the condition, the certification, and the sales history. Those details transform a 1-cent piece from an ordinary object into a potentially fascinating numismatic discovery. The 2015 Lincoln cent is therefore worth examining, but it is best examined with both excitement and skepticism. The excitement comes from the possibility of finding a genuine mint error. The skepticism comes from recognizing that billions of ordinary examples exist, and that extraordinary price claims require extraordinary evidence. The combination of careful observation and reliable research is what separates serious coin collecting from internet speculation. For anyone holding a 2015 penny right now, the practical message is straightforward: check the mint mark, weigh it at approximately 2.50 grams, inspect the 19mm diameter, examine both sides under magnification, study the rim and edge, look for genuine doubling, die cracks, die chips, off-center striking, clips, broad strikes, plating abnormalities, and other legitimate mint-made characteristics, and never clean a potentially valuable coin. If a major error appears possible, have it professionally authenticated before believing any extraordinary valuation. The 2015 penny may not be a confirmed $178 million coin, but that does not make the search uninteresting. In fact, the real numismatic story is more valuable than the sensational headline: billions of ordinary Lincoln cents were made, yet a small number of unusual pieces can become collectible because of their manufacturing history, rarity, condition, and documented market demand. That is the real reason collectors continue to inspect modern pennies, and it is the real opportunity hidden inside the humble 2015 1-cent coin.